This is your next best step. I'm Coach Janet J. If you have ever watched summer plans pile up and felt your stomach tighten before you have spent a single dollar, today is for you. Let's talk about what's really happening and what to do about it. You do not have to spend a dollar on summer yet, and you're already stressed about it. Neuroscience says that your brain cannot tell the difference between imagining you will run out of money and actually running out of money. The stress response is nearly identical, which means the worry itself is costing you something. It's mid-May and something has already shifted. Maybe it was the camp brochure that showed up in your inbox. Maybe it was your neighbor mentioning their beach rental. Maybe it was your adult daughter asking if the family could all go somewhere together this year. And you heard yourself say, "That sounds wonderful," while your brain was already doing math. Or maybe nobody said anything at all. Maybe it was just scrolling through your phone and seeing someone else's lake house, someone else's road trip plans, someone else's matching family swimsuits, and something inside you tightened. Pay attention to the timing here. You have not booked anything yet. The summer has not even started, and you are already carrying the weight of it. That weight has a name. Researchers call it anticipatory anxiety, and when it attaches to money, it creates a very specific kind of spiral. The stress is about what you are imagining you will need to spend and the gap between that number and what feels possible. This is different from what we covered in episode 27, where we talked about holiday budgeting and the enough number. And it's different from episode 77, where we explored what your nervous system does when you sit down with a bill. Today is about what happens before the bill even exists. The anticipatory spiral, the planning stage guilt, the comparison that convinces you that what you can offer is somehow not enough. I want to anchor us in something before we go further. Philippians 4:19 says, "And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus." I need to be careful with this verse because it is easy to hear it as a blank check, like God will provide, so do not worry about the numbers. Paul is actually saying something much more grounded than that. Paul wrote this from prison. He was not living in abundance. He was writing to a church that had supported him financially, and he was acknowledging their generosity while reminding them that God is the ultimate source of provision. The word needs here is important. The Greek word here is kreia, and it means genuine need, not every desire or expectation. Paul is saying, God knows what you actually need, not what Instagram says you need, not what the camp brochure says your children need, not what the family group text implies everyone else is doing. This verse is an invitation to let go of the anxiety that says you will not have enough so that you can think clearly about what enough actually looks like for your family in your season with your resources. It is about trusting God with your needs while stewarding your resources wisely. Trust and stewardship work together. When you believe God will meet your needs, you can make wise decisions from a grounded place instead of a fearful one. Here's what the science tells us about what is happening in your brain during this kind of anticipatory financial stress. A landmark review published in Nature Reviews Neuroscience by Gruppi and Nitschke at the University of Wisconsin found that the brain's threat detection system, centered in the amygdala, responds to imagined future threats with nearly the same intensity as real present dangers. Your body doesn't wait for the spending to happen. It reacts to the possibility. Cortisol rises. Your heart rate increases. your thinking narrows, all before you have opened your wallet. A 2024 study in the Journal of Psychosomatic Research found that poor sleep made anticipatory worry worse the next morning. So, if you are lying awake doing summer math in your head, you are actually making the anxiety loop stronger. And then there is the comparison layer. Research from the Alliance Financial Group found that social media significantly increases the tendency to compare your financial situation with others. The study found that a majority of respondents reported feeling inadequate about their own life after seeing other people's posts, and many reported spending money they had not planned to spend as a result. Summer amplifies this. Vacation photos, camp brochures. What are you doing this summer? Conversations. All of it triggers scarcity thinking regardless of your actual resources. So the spiral goes like this. You see what other people are planning. Your brain interprets that as a threat to your adequacy. Stress hormones fire. Clear thinking shuts down. And suddenly you are either panic planning something you cannot afford or paralyzed with guilt because you cannot provide what you think you are supposed to. So where does that leave you right now, today? If you already have that tight feeling in your chest about what this summer is going to cost, I want you to hear this. That feeling is your brain doing what brains do with uncertainty. It is projecting, forecasting, and catastrophizing. It is a stress response, and it is running ahead of reality. You do not have to follow it there. The spiral only has power when you stay inside of it. And today, we are stepping outside of it. Let's get practical. Research published in Psychological Science found that people who were guided into feelings of gratitude before making financial decisions were significantly more patient and less impulsive with their money. Gratitude didn't change their income, it changed their relationship with it. They made calmer, more values-aligned choices. Separate research by Emmons and McCullough at UC Davis found that people who practiced regular gratitude felt greater life satisfaction and reported less desire for material things, even when nothing about their financial situation changed. Gratitude shifts your brain out of scarcity mode. It does not add money to your account. It restores your ability to see clearly what you already have. Now, I want to be clear. I am not talking about forcing yourself into feeling thankful when you are genuinely stressed about money. Pasting a smile over real anxiety does not help. Research actually shows that suppressing real emotions increases stress. What the science points to is something different. It is about noticing. Deliberately noticing what is already present and already good before your brain defaults to scanning for what is missing. That is not performance. That is a starting point. So when the camp registration page is open and the flight search is loaded and someone asks if you are in for a family reunion trip, pause. Start with what is already here. What is already good? Mentally, anticipatory financial anxiety is a thinking pattern. It has your brain rehearsing worst case scenarios and treating them like facts. Emotionally, the guilt of not being able to provide what you think is expected can sit heavy, especially if you are the one everyone counts on to make summer happen. Physically, financial stress raises cortisol, disrupts sleep, and creates tension you might not even recognize as money related. Spiritually, this is about trust, believing that God knows your actual needs and that wise stewardship of what you have is more honoring than spending yourself into anxiety. Here is your next best step. Before you open a single registration page or price a single flight, grab a piece of paper and write down 3 things that would make this summer feel like it mattered. Not 3 things to buy or book, 3 things to experience. Maybe it's slow mornings with coffee on the porch. Maybe it's one day at the lake with people you love. Maybe it's finally reading that stack of books. Whatever comes to mind first, then look at that list. How many of those things require a big price tag? Most of the time, what matters most costs the least. Start your summer planning from that list, not from a brochure or someone else's Instagram feed. When you plan from what matters, the pressure to match everyone else loses its grip. You are building summer around your values, your people, your actual life. And that is a summer worth having. That changes your starting point. Instead of planning from fear, you are planning from what actually matters to you. Your brain treats imagined financial shortfall like the real thing. The worry itself is psychologically expensive. Genuine gratitude, the kind that notices what is already here, restores clear thinking. And 3 honest answers can redirect the whole spiral. What would make this summer feel like it mattered? Wednesday, we're shifting gears. If you have been tossing and turning or staying up way too late because the sun doesn't set until after 8, episode 92 is about why your body needs a bedtime. Yes, even yours. And what summer daylight does to your sleep rhythm. It's actually more interesting than it sounds, I promise. Follow or subscribe today so you don't miss it, and I will see you Wednesday. Take your next best step.